I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I'm the head coach for JobSearchCoachingHQ.com. That's a site with curated information that you can watch, listen to, or read that is going to help you find work more quickly. Now, I want to talk with you today about negotiating mistakes that people make, just as a way of trying to intercept some things. Now, I have a lot of material on negotiating on YouTube. If you went to jobsearchtv.com, that'll take you to my YouTube channel. And the idea is to look for the playlist that deals with salary negotiation. Okay. So I want to cover a couple of things that really make a lot of sense that you don't want to be doing when you go into a negotiation. And the first thing is I'm going to go proactively to understand that along the way in the course of your interviewing, you want to be the one that they like personally. You don't have a relationship with someone and walk into a negotiation and expect to get results because they don't care. You want them to care about the fact that they want you, so that thus they are open to making changes in the negotiation. Excuse me. So remember, up until the point that you're negotiating, everything that you're doing is to make yourself both competent and likable. Firms will extend themselves for people that they like a lot more than people that they don't. The second thing is you walk into the negotiation unprepared. Like, you don't anticipate and prepare for how you respond to different counterpoints that they make. And the result winds up being you haven't even thought about what I call the best question or the single best question to ask at the end of any interview. Again, a YouTube video of mine. Go there. It's got a very basic negotiating technique for you. But you haven't really prepared. You haven't anticipated how they'll respond, and thus you're making it up as you go along. Thus, when they throw the first no down in front of you, you're ready to turn tail and say, okay, or I've had enough, I'm out of here. That's not negotiating. That's an ultimatum, which is, again, one of the big mistakes that people make. They develop ultimatums and make demands without really negotiating. Now, an ultimatum, I don't know how it is with you. When people tell me or insist to me that I should take it or leave it, most of the time I'm going to leave it because I hate getting an ultimatum. So just recognize for yourself, you don't like it any more than they do, and you don't want to deliver an ultimatum to them. Now, with that, I want to remind you that you need to have a plan B. Now, sometimes that's nicknamed a BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. The concept is really very simple. If you can't get the optimal agreement, what's your plan B? What are you ready to accept if you can't get the best? What are you willing to horse trade in the course of answering questions that will allow you to get pretty close, allow them to save face a little bit, and walk out with much more than you walked in with? Another mistake people make is not really listening. And listening isn't just about the words, but it's about cues in the body language, cues in slight changes to language that allow you to step in and recognize that they're making a concession and expanding on that concession so that it's clear, so that you again get more of what you want. It can be a shift in the body language. So, for example, suddenly they're leaning forward or leaning back. They're basically, the crossing arms doesn't mean anything, but suddenly they've shifted in some way, or they're thinking about something, and it gives you the idea that maybe there's something shifting in their belief system. So, recognize that you have to listen to the words and to the behavior. Another thing you need to be prepared to do, if necessary, is to annoy them, to offend them, to turn them off. Because, again, if there's a point where you're not getting what you want, go for broke. But I'm not talking about the first 3 sentences, but it's about going for broke and really pushing hard for what you want, even if that involves demanding more time to consider. Okay. Another mistake people make is caring too much. They're not prepared to turn things down, and firms smell that. It's kind of like the date where one party or the other acts as though they care too much too soon, and the other one goes, "Whoa, slow down, please. I'm not interested in being pursued that hard, being stalked by you." All the sort of behavior that shows up in negotiating as well. So you want to be careful about caring too much. Another mistake, assuming something is non-negotiable. You've got an offer in hand, and why not about the benefits? Why not about the vacation policy? Why not about the RSUs or the bonus? Negotiate about that as well. Don't just accept what they tell you. And thus, that's coupled with focusing purely on the money. When you negotiate, the whole package needs to be on the table. And the result winds up being, you make the mistake of an assumption that other things really aren't. So always explore the other alternatives. And the last point I'm going to raise is trying to win outright. Pushing so hard that you turn people off. When I've negotiated on behalf of people over the course of my career in search, if I started to sense that the other person was getting too annoyed, and that's the key thing, too annoyed to the point that even if they made the concession, they would take it out on the person on board. Once they got on board, I made the point of trying to leave a little money on the table for them, or leave something on the table for them that allowed them to feel as though they weren't pushed so hard they were made to break. If you try to win, ultimately, once you're on board, you may lose. So I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. If you found this helpful, if you'd be interested in my helping you through a negotiation, not as your negotiator, but to give you advice and tactics, reach out to me. You can do that through LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Mention that you saw the video because I just like knowing that I'm helping people. Once we're connected, message me and tell me that you're interested in a coaching session with me. I'd love to help you. Hope you have a great day. Take care.